My name is Gavin Evans, and this is my review of Mission Impossible 2. And this review will have spoilers, so there's your warning. But let's just cut to the chase. This movie fucking sucks. It's so bad. It's so very bad, and it's easily the worst of the franchise. So let's begin by talking about the cast. And Tom Cruise is one of my favorite actors. Like, he can give great dramatic performances in movies like Magnolia, A Few Good Men, The Last Samurai, but he can also give great blockbuster performances in movies like, well, the rest of this franchise, Top Gun Maverick, Edge of Tomorrow. The guy can just do it all. But that said, his performance here is some of his worst work. Like, it just feels like he's phoning it in, and I thought he was completely flat here. Dougray Scott is the most bland and generic villain possible. Thandie Newton is terrible here. Like, she doesn't stand out whatsoever, and she isn't as cool or as charming as the movie thinks she is. Anthony Hopkins is barely present, but he still does a good job. Ving Rhames does a perfectly fine job. John Paulson is bad, he's very forgettable, but when I'm watching this movie, even though his character isn't Benji, you can tell that they replaced him with Simon Pegg next. It's just the same kind of personality, but John gives a much, much, much worse performance. Brandon Gleeson is fine. I am a big fan of his, but he's not given much to do. And Richard Roxburgh doesn't stand out. So the cast kinda sucks, and the story is just whatever. It's very generic, and I just didn't care about anything going on. It has some terrible pacing where it takes like 40-50 minutes before anything happens. And the impossible mission here is just kind of boring. Like in the first movie, he goes down into this vault, and here the big stunt is him going down a building. It just feels like they didn't really step it up too much. I also think this movie is terribly directed by John Woo. And John Woo is someone who I need to watch more of his movies because I haven't seen The Killer, I haven't seen A Better Tomorrow, I haven't seen Hard Boiled, I haven't seen Red Cliff, but I have seen Paycheck and I actually like that movie. I think it's very underrated. I love Face Off. I like Broken Arrow. I hated Silent Night with Joel Kinnaman. That movie sucked. But he seems to be a talented director, but his work here is just baffling. Like, it does have a very specific out there style, it just doesn't land for me. The cinematography, the sound, the editing, it all just feels off throughout, and the action is very bad. Like, there's a couple moments I'll talk about shortly, but for the most part, it's not as tense or as thrilling as it should be. But the biggest disappointment of this movie is the musical score by Hans Zimmer. And if you know me, you know that Hans Zimmer is one of my favorite composers. His work in the Pirates of the Caribbean movies is just masterful. The Lone Ranger, Interstellar, Inception, the Dark Knight trilogy, The Lion King. The guy has made so many um, amazing and iconic scores, but this is his worst work. Like, lots of the time, it just doesn't fit the scene, and it actively sounds bad. Like, there's moments where it sounds like music that would be in a porno, and other times it sounded like he accidentally put some of his gladiator skull here, and it just feels off, and it actively distracts you from the movie. But I will give the movie some credit. It does have a few decent moments. Like the scene early on with Tom Cruise and Sandy Newton in the bathtub is decent. The scene where Tom Cruise throws the grenade and he shoots it at the door, that's decent. Oh, early on, where Tom Cruise is rock climbing, decent, and that would take so much upper body strength, it's actually insane. I actually don't mind the opening ISO where you think it might be Tom Cruise, but surprise, it's not. I like the scene where Tom Cruise is getting shot at on the bike, so he slides to the right. The knife scene is very cool, and the scene at the end where he kicks up the gun is cool as well. So there's maybe like 2 minutes, maybe 3 minutes of solid content here, but the rest of the movie is just so awful. The story sucks, the cast sucks, the directing sucks, the music sucks, the movie sucks. So I'm giving Mission Impossible 2 a 2 out of 10. Very fitting score, but Mission Impossible 2, have you seen it? What did you think? Let me know in the comments down below. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Stay tuned for more videos soon. And Gavin out.